Hey everybody. Again, it's been a few weeks, but I thought I'd try it again. This is episode 59. It's a Friday night. I got nothing to do. So let's get to it. So, big news. I am officially a member of the AARP. I realized after I investigated, started getting emails about it, that the AARP doesn't have an age limit. You can join if you're 18 years old or 20 or whatever it is. They just market and all their things are for older people like myself. So I've got birthday number 50 coming up in about 6 months. So I'm official $12 for my wife and I for the first year. Pretty awesome deal. I'm going to start getting all kinds of discounts. Also, you get discounts at Denny's, and I haven't been to a Denny's in a lot of years, so I'm definitely going. But I decided I need to join up. So that was an exciting day in my life. Since my last conversation, we also went to Indianapolis. I took Ben and Molly to our sort of annual trip to Indy to watch the Colts play. And it ended exactly how I expected it to. Us ahead 17-7 in the third quarter, and we lost by 10 with a pretty awful play to finish the game. So, but a great trip. NFL has, it's just amazing how good they are, that there were 65,000 people in a stadium to watch two pretty bad teams, the Colts and the Saints, neither one with winning records, but the stadium's full. And someone like me made the trip, tickets, hotel, food, gas, all of that, and I will do it again. Even though currently the team's not great, but there's a little bit of hope for us, I suppose. At least we're better than Packers. I wanted to mention a couple of new ideas I have because this is where I journal my new ideas so someday I can execute them and change the world. One's pretty easy. I was at the WAC on Saturday. We had something called Super Saturday. The tennis really isn't part of it, but all the fitness classes are going. You can sample them. And I saw Erin in the gym with her students jumping up and down on the trampoline. So I've invented trampoline tennis. We're going to have people stand on trampolines and hit balls back and forth. And yes, there are some insurance issues and probably some serious injuries, but think about the skill, the hand eye coordination you would need to jump up and down on a trampoline and hit a ball back and forth. If you fall off, probably an issue, but it's an idea. I don't worry about the details like safety. But then my friend Julie had an idea that we just get a full trampoline to cover the entire gym floor, put a net up, and play tennis on it, like a real tennis shaped court. Probably paint the lines on it, but you can jump up and down, leap into the air. Lobs would be awesome because you could get them and smash them down. So trampoline tennis is going to be a thing for sure. My other one is I was talking with my friend Ray Lee, and we were talking about doctor stuff and specifically injuries like knees and hips and getting things fixed, not diseases, but learning. And some of you have had this. I haven't had it for that. I had it for my skin cancer issue, but you've got to schedule an appointment to see a doctor, and then you schedule an appointment to get an MRI. Then you go back to the doctor, and then you might go to a specialist, and then at some point you might have that. Let's say it's a knee, you might have that replaced, and it seems like it can take months to get those types of things fixed. Why couldn't we have a one stop hospital that you go in the morning, you see your doctor sends you directly to any tests you might need. Let's say it's an MRI. You get that MRI, you immediately get it read by the doctor. They tell you, hey, you need a knee replacement. Next step, they wheel you into the room. You get your knee replacement. You're out by 5 having dinner at home. Why does it have to be so long in between appointments? I know there's a good answer to that, but why does it have to be that? Why can't it be one thing? Go in, get checked, do your tests, get it fixed. Let's go. So it's a sort of a 1 day hospital. I'm talking for broken things or body parts, not diseases and illnesses. Those, well, maybe we could do that, but this one is, for instance, someday I know I'm going to need a new knee or both of them or hips for my career. I want to go in at 8 a.m. and later that afternoon, I've got that new knee and I'm out, ready to go. I'm recovering already, started my physical therapy. I'm good to go. Done. Add that to my list of things. And I really don't want to hear from any medical people to tell me why that couldn't happen because I think it can. So let's get to my next episode of What is Wrong with People. This one, I've got two of them. So this happened to me a couple weeks ago. And I know I've been talking about what things people say on the court that you shouldn't say to your coaches. So this happened to me. It was a group. A player showed up late, probably 3 to 5 minutes. We had already started. Nothing outrageous for what we're sort of used to in our world. But within the first, I'm gonna say 90 seconds to be generous, I got three excuses. I asked this person to do something, to play a certain way, take a shot, something. And I got first, I'm not warmed up. Okay. Second excuse, seconds later, I couldn't find parking. That's why you couldn't hit that volley, is because you couldn't find parking. And then it got to, again, just a few seconds later, this is a quick one conversation. My back hurts. So it went from not being warmed up to not finding a parking spot to all of a sudden we've got a back injury all at the beginning of an hour. And I can tell you that hour did not go well for that person because it put me on a bad path. Maybe I should be a better coach and blow it off, but don't come in late and give me three excuses, including one that you couldn't find parking. That's why you missed the forehand, is because parking was difficult. So when you come out on the court, don't find excuses, just try. I never care if that person misses the shot or doesn't execute whatever skill we're doing or strategy. Don't tell me, "Oh, I missed that. I missed that forehand volley. God, I just couldn't find a parking spot. I had to walk a little further." That's insane. Nobody cares about those excuses, especially the coach and the people around you. They just want to play, right? Or maybe get there early and find better parking if that's an issue. I also had one, it was an email, didn't directly come to me. I just happened to see it. It was a parent of a 5-year-old boy looking for tennis lessons. And in the email was describing things like, my 5-year-old really wants to play tennis. I don't believe. I think a 5-year-old wants to eat candy and watch, I don't know, like the cartoons still exist. But at what age at 5 do you really telling your parents you want to go play tennis? Also said, and I wrote this one down, shows great promise. At 5 years old, shows great promise as a tennis player. The parent said that they played volleyball in high school, so they're sure that the 5-year-old will be really good and have great hand-eye coordination, and that they hit a couple of balls in their driveway. So they believe that their 5-year-old is going to be amazing. To me, that's ridiculous. So my whole career, I haven't really bought into all of the things USTA has tried to do with all of these. Go back to little tennis and tiny tennis and mighty mites, and the current one is net generation. Every year they come up with a new thing to get kids playing. So here's my recommendation for parents. And I don't have a lot of parents that listen to this of 5-year-olds, but if you've got friends and they've got that age, get some old balls and take them to the court and throw one at them. Run around, give them an old racket if you want. Who cares? Just let them see a court. What does it look like? Chase some balls, toss them at them, throw them at them, play catch. It doesn't matter if you just wanted to see a court. You can do everything most coaches can do, unless you're the parent who has the exceptional children, which I'm sure you are. Just don't overdo it. That 5-year-old, they don't know what they want to play tennis. I didn't know. I'm not sure. I still want to play tennis. The pickleball world, there was a story recently about a pro pickleball player who quit a tournament because she was unhappy with the line judges. Walked off the court, told the tour she was going to retire unless they made major changes to their line judge situation. Walked off. And my thought is, who cares? What's the big deal? Why would anybody care that this person I'd never heard of and no one that listens to this has ever heard of is going to completely retire from the sport? Can you imagine if a pro tennis player, I don't know, Alcaraz gets a bad call and he quits the sport forever? Just walks off, he's done until they stop making bad calls. It's part of the sport. Stuff happens. Or a football team gets a bad call from a ref and all of the players retire their careers. It's embarrassing. That's why I think pickleball is going down a bad path. So I want to get to, I watched 2 shows in my life. There's really 2 shows that I watch on TV. Everything else is sports, maybe a documentary. It is The Office and Seinfeld. I guess I'm getting old, but those are my 2 favorites. I think the humor to me holds up, and I think they're still the 2 best shows on TV of comedies, I guess. So I was watching one a couple days ago. It was season 4, episode 22, May 13th, 1993. I was 19 years old. So there's a section in there where George and Jerry are talking, and George is wearing sweatpants. And if you've listened to any of my podcasts, they tend to have, almost all of them, something about sweatpants, Crocs, why the world looks like slobs when they go out. When did it become acceptable to go to restaurants in sweatpants and cut off shirts and Crocs and camo and slippers and all those kind of things? But this was 1993. So 30 years ago. Dang, I was 19. That's a long time ago. So here's what went down. They're in their apartment. George is wearing sweatpants. Jerry says, talking to George about it, says, wearing sweatpants in public says, I give up. I can't compete in normal society. I'm miserable, so I might as well be comfortable. And I thought it was awesome. This was said 30 years ago, and now 30 years later, it's the norm, I suppose. And I guess I am judging people, and I don't see it. But I just thought it was funny that people that wear sweatpants in public cannot compete in normal society. They're miserable and guess they might as well be comfortable. But that was May of 1993. They should redo Seinfeld and have an episode about Crocs. I would love that. Moving on, because I know this is all just gibberish and nobody listens anyway. So I like to sort of tell stories about things in the tennis world that happened on the courts. And so again, this is a few weeks ago. I'm always looking for, I guess, unique ways to get my points across and get people to remember. So I taught a short lesson about sugar cookies. And this started because I came home one day and Molly had made, or my wife, somebody, I think it was Molly. I may be making this story up. Made some sugar cookies. And I am, if it's sweet, I'll eat it. So if there's a cookie there, I'm going to eat it. So she made these and I hadn't touched them all day. Later that night, I was sitting on the computer and Molly brought them over, and they were on the table and asked me if I wanted some. I said no. I've had a good diet day. So going back to, I don't know, a year ago, where I kept going over my weight because I put on a lot, which is back, and I got to start that again. Different topic. We'll talk about that later. So she puts these sugar cookies next to me, and I said no, I don't want any. I was not going to have them. They're sitting there. I can see them, but I said no. Having good diet discipline, I suppose. And before I knew it, I'm on my computer returning emails or working on something. And before I know it, I've got a sugar cookie in my hand. And as I'm working, I realize I ate about, I don't know, a dozen of them. They were awesome. And I felt terrible. I felt bad physically and mentally. I was embarrassed of my fat self. So on the court a few days later, I have this issue with many players. They're especially, I generally do double stuff. They'll poach. They'll run across the court, steal a ball, and start this. We talked about it before, starting a fight. And they'll run out there and they'll get the first ball. And then they turn and recover and scurry back to where they started from instead of continuing and getting the next one. And that they go across, they come back. They don't finish the job. So the idea I was talking about was when you're playing doubles, you jump into the middle and steal one. Don't go back. You gotta get it. So the idea was to eat all of the sugar cookies. Don't just eat one. Because once I ate one, I'm like, in my mind, I already blew my diet. I might as well go all out and finish the job and eat that whole freaking box of sugar cookies. Because one started it. And so I used the whole lesson on gotta eat the sugar cookies. Why'd you give that cookie back? Why didn't you eat the last one? So if you run across, you steal a ball and you're ultra aggressive, finish the job. Don't go back, don't pass it on to your partner. Go get that sugar cookie. Finish it. You've already started a bold, dramatic, a high energy activity. Finish it. It's why you came there, and get to the middle of the court, steal one, get the first one. I always tell her, if you're going to get the first one, you better get the second one and then get the third one, and use your partner as the backup. Next time you're playing and you go get a ball, get the next one. Eat more sugar cookies is is the lesson. It's really dumb, but I'm telling you, there is a human somewhere in the world that has or will remember that about the sugar cookies. So just eat them all. Kind of like that. I think it's Lay's potato chips. You can't eat just one, or Pringles, or whatever it is, but just don't go back. Don't start a fight you can't finish or you don't want to finish. Right? Don't make your partner finish the fight when you got into it in the first place. So that's my sugar cookie analogy. Last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo, I said that right. I've been practicing just for this. He scored 54 points last night. I think he's a two-time MVP, um, considered one of the top, three players in the NBA. Amazing player. He put up 54 last night against the Indiana Pacers, my home state team. I don't watch much anymore since Reggie Miller left in probably 1995. Anyway, 54 points. It's all over Twitter. It's on SportsCenter. I'm getting notifications about what he's doing and keeps racking up points. And then at the end of the game, With a minute and 30 seconds left, he had a turnover. Bad one. Gave the ball over, Pacers scored. 30 seconds left, another bad turnover. Pacers scored. They lost the game after being up 4 or 5 points with a couple minutes to go. So even though he was amazing and has the highest point total this season in the NBA, they lost. So it doesn't. I talk a lot about when your mistakes come. He could have made those two turnovers 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier in the first half, and nobody cares. He gets 54 and he's a hero. But he failed in the big moment. He turned the ball over and he admitted it at the end, and he talked about it after the game that scoring 54 didn't matter because he made two mistakes that cost his team the game. And as you're playing, you're on the court. Great, you hit 54 winners, but if you made an unforced error in the tiebreaker or the third set or deuce add out, those 54 winners don't matter. It goes down again to the number of errors aren't as important as the timing of those mistakes. And I think tennis players can learn a lot from that because he knew I was great, but I was great in the moments that weren't important. He scored, I don't know, 26 in the first half or the first quarter, maybe. He had one big quarter. But nobody's saying that today. Even him talking about those two small, very minor mistakes at the end of the game cost his team. And I think it's cool that that's what he was discussing, is he knew it. So if you're that player that struggles with battling your demons in the error department, just monitor when they happen, not if they happen, because they will. You know you're going to screw up. But if you screw up 20 times, don't make number 19 and 20 late in a set or late in a tiebreaker. Make them early, nobody cares, right? Make 20 errors, right? Hit 20 winners. Just don't do the errors at the bad moments. That's it. It's an easy way to play. As long as you don't make an error on the match point, you got a chance, right? Maybe they hit a winner. That's fine. They were good. And that leads me to people being good sometimes. I think I like to call out, make fun of people a bit in my world, but I think there are ways for players to be a little kinder to themselves on the court. So I had a situation recently, within the last month, 6 weeks maybe, where I had to address someone's poor behavior on the court. And I didn't want to. I knew I had to. And I thought it was going to go badly. And I got all jacked up mentally to almost get into a confrontation, a fight. I had all my ammunition, my records, my reason why. Here's what we're going to do. I was all fired up and ready for a serious confrontation. I called this person, and immediately this person apologized, told me they screwed up, agreed with me, accepted responsibility, and offered options to repair the situation. This is in the first minute. And I called yeah, let's go. I got this. I'm pumped up. Let's do it. Even picked a time where I had some time to talk and found a quiet place. And by this person apologizing, admitting it completely 100% diffused the situation, almost to a point where I got bummed out because I didn't get to have this battle. They just stopped me in my tracks. It turned out to be a really good conversation, and I think by the end of it, I might have been the one apologizing, just because it was so. It just completely took this situation that could have gone badly, and it ended it. And then we got to important things and made some good decisions and fixed some things, and it was a very productive conversation. And it got me thinking about how can you do that on a court when you're angry You've lost. You've lost the point. Things aren't maybe not going your way. What can you do? And I think the version of that on a tennis court is just tell your opponent things like, "Hey, that was a great shot. Nice play. That was really good." Give them a compliment. Give them the credit for the result of that point versus you taking the blame. When something happens on the court negative to you, you lose a point. I think your first question should be, were they good? Did they play well? Were they better than me in that point? Did that those two players or singles, one player, did they play better than me? If the answer is yes, isn't that it? Is there anything else to do? You're done, right? Because you didn't do anything wrong, so there's nothing to fix on your side. They did something great. Tell them how good they are. Move on to the next one. There's just so many players that I see it a lot because especially in drills and what I do and my fellow tennis coaches do, we play a lot of points. I don't know how many, but in an hour lesson, I don't know, we might play 500 points, 300, I don't know, but it's a lot. So every single one is going to end with someone losing. It's impossible for both to win. So there's a lot of chances to beat yourself up. And so I have a lot of groups have to stop and I always tell them, listen, that was not your fault. You were in the right place at the right time and they were better than you. They hit a great shot. And I'll tell people, stop trying to figure out what you did wrong and just look over there and tell that person how great they are. Great shot. That was amazing. Really good. Whatever positive words you want to give to them. And then you're finished. There is no fixing of that because there was nothing you did wrong. Hey, you guys played better than us that time. That's the idea. And move on. You don't have to find a blame for you or your partner every single point. That's crazy. Just, hey, they were good, right? Let's make them be better. Let's let them be good again. And I think giving credit to them is better than taking blame for yourself. Now, if that's not the case, if you hit a poor shot, yeah, why? Bad swing, bad footwork, bad placement on the court, bad location, unprepared, bad teamwork, poor communicate, all those kind of things, that's fine. But if they were good, why go through all that? Just, hey, heck of a shot. I think that is I think it's the apology. Saying nice shot is it's the apology of the real world. Of let them know you're good, great shot. Let's go on to the next point. There's no harm to that. I don't think. So next time y'all play, just see if you can make that happen quickly. Good job. Move on. We're done. Um, yeah, I think I'm done. This is a short one. I'm at like 28 and a half minutes. That's not too shabby for a Friday night, I suppose. So anyway, if you are a WAC member, remember to scan that QR code and join our ARC program, Adult Report Cards, where every 6 months we're going to give you a short report card, sort of collaboration between all the coaches you work with. Think, set some goals, those types of things. If you're not a WAC member, we're having a Babolat demo day on December 8th. It's actually demo night. December 8th, Friday night, I think it starts at 6:30. It is open to non-members. Steve from Babolat will be there with all the new frames. You can hit some balls, play some social tennis, try out all the new Babolat rackets, and check out the WAC. But other than that, I think it's all I got, and I'll be back sometime when I got more stuff to say. Thanks everybody. I'll see you on the courts.